It is 5 minutes after 6. I will now call to order the August 10th, 2015 meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. The meeting is being recorded. Are there any public concerns, non-agenda items? Yes.
Hi, I'm Dan Hagan from the City Council. I live at 24 Highland Avenue. I know some new members. This has been an ongoing thing on Highland Avenue for the past couple of years. Longer than that, many years, but we were at the conservation a few years, a couple of years back. The last summer, the summer before, I know I got it in my records. I just got back from vacation today. And what's been going on, I for the last month or so, I've been on vacation, but I've been back in the city a few days and then going back out. But I've been getting a lot of calls and contacts with residents, and the landowner behind Highland Avenue for the last month has been doing an excavation, plowing, bulldozing, tree cutting, tree trimming, several acres wide. He's cut a new path for a new right-of-way right to Highland Avenue, 50 feet wide, because I'd say it's half a lot. And some of the neighbors are concerned, A, what he's doing, and B, is he violating any type of conservation issues. I've gone to the planner and to the building inspector, and at least to my last knowledge, neither one has said any type of plans or permits have been taken out through them. The planner suggested, I did send an email last week, I don't know if anyone got it, just a CC from the planner. She did suggest I come down and talk to you folks directly.
Excuse me, can you remind me where Highland Ave is?
Highland Avenue is off Northampton Street, so if you're heading toward Northampton and you pass McDonald's,
Yep.
there's a little shop with a pizza place.
Yep.
If you take that right, it goes down
Okay.
into the Boy Scout, Girl Scout camp.
Yep.
And this is would be on the right-hand side, or I would say the Northampton would be the south side.
What? Oh,
So-
okay. Thank you.
Okay. And anyway, getting back, so anyway, there's no permits according to them. Also, if he's not violating anything, I don't, again, that's his right. I guess I had three main concerns. Where he's doing it now, last time we were here, a lot of it was in the highway business area. Now he's back down further, which is actually R15. I don't know if that necessarily makes a difference from a conservation standpoint, it may not. It's a little further down, although I do believe there was a site visit where I wasn't there, you went to some neighbors, so it's down in that same area.
Okay.
But the three main concerns are obviously that right-of-way that I was talking about. They don't know if it's big enough for a need for a stormwater management plan, because it does fill and come right out to the roadway. It is, it goes all the way back. You can see it all the way to the canal, which is, I guess, our next concern. There's and I think Melissa is somewhat familiar with the New Haven Canal. I think at some point you had an
In my
interest.
backyard.
Yes. But that does border this property that he's on, and he is bulldozed and excavated right to the edge where that is, and it goes down into there and feeds into the Manhan River.
So he's working within 100 feet of the canal?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's cutting trees there, clearing, bulldozing. You can see from the Highland Avenue, the new right-of-way, you can see right to the, now, when you say right to the canal, he's right to the bank. I mean, I don't know.
The top of the slope?
Yes, I don't know how far down it actually goes before you get to the canal. Because that canal,
Oh, okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Then the third one is, and we talked about this, is the state open water that's on the state maps for water. There's a state open water which is located on many maps. It's that has been totally filled in according to the neighbor. Last time we were here, he was filling it in. Shortly after we came down, he dug it out and said he was maintaining it or something. Now it's supposedly totally filled right in. And going back in some of the old Google Earths, this looks, according to their, at least the scale, I mean, you're talking a body of water at one time that was in excess of 10,000 square feet. This is a large body of water. And we've all lived there long. I've lived there long enough, but some neighbors here have lived there also. There were several other smaller, shallower ponds that have long since been filled, but this was the biggest. And over the years, it's shrunk, and now it's gone. So I guess I just wanted to bring, I don't know if, bring the concerns to the Conservation Commission. I don't know if my neighbors want to add anything or say anything, but I wanted to bring it in. I'm also here for a couple of other agenda items, so I'll sit down.
So-
Matthew Lever from 25 Highland Avenue. As I recall from a prior proceeding, that area back in there was designated as a swale, also for water to come down off of the hill on Highland, come under Bach Plaza and down towards the canal and Manhattan down in that area. And on both sides of Highland Avenue, there were swales designated on the maps that I recall seeing that we had from the state site. So I would just bring that to your attention.
What kind of maps were these? Were they?
They were ones that were on the internet from the, what's the service from the state? G.
Mass
something.
GIS?
Yes.
Yeah. But this was when the Stop and Shop thing happened. How many years ago? That was that,
Well, that's
6,
close.
7 years ago?
6.5 years.
And I'm Susan Lever from 25 Highland, and again, I'm going to bring up the same thing I did the last time, and it's water.
Yes.
I'm very concerned. I mean, we're hearing that tomorrow it's supposed to rain all day. With what he's done, especially down the end of the street, whenever we have a heavy rain, all of the dirt from the area that he's working in is now going, 1, into the street, 2, into the canal. And I mean, we're having major issues with water in our yard that are new. I know when Jim Gracia was here, he was saying, by today's standards, you probably wouldn't even be able to build on Highland Avenue.
Right.
But I've been there for 26 years, I don't want to move right now. But our yard maintains wetness, even though it hasn't rained. We're wet. And with what he's doing now, because what the water does is because it's higher than where we are, it runs from Dan's property down into our property.
You're on the north side of Highland
Yeah,
Avenue?
I'm directly across the street from the Havens. But water is going to continue to be a bigger issue with what he's doing back there now, because all the trees are going.
And as development happens on the north side and water gets squeezed in on both sides towards the street, so it's really what's happening.
So it's a matter, from our perspective, it's a matter of whether or not his activity or where he's performing the activity is an area subject to our jurisdiction. And I can't recall the specifics of the mapping we reviewed regarding that area you referenced, the larger of the isolated areas. There are thresholds as to what is jurisdictional and what is not. And I believe at the time we determined it was not jurisdictional, which takes it out of our jurisdiction under the Wetlands Protection Act. Is there, Dan, you know the stormwater ordinance better than I do. If a person is doing site work,
Yeah, if he's disturbing more than an acre,
Acre
then he needs to do a
it would,
stormwater management plan and get a permit.
would that
kind
also
of
be
thing.
NIPD's? CGP?
Yeah, that would be through the EPA also. They need to do something through the EPA.
So there's a local and a federal. So if someone goes in and is doing work, even if it's not within our jurisdiction under the Wetlands Protection Act, we've got the local stormwater ordinance where we have to figure out if it's an acre or not.
Mhm.
And then there's also under EPA, NIPD's construction general permit coverage, if you're cumulatively, not even at any particular point in time, disturbing an acre or more, you have to file for coverage under the CGP. And that would address, that's intended to address runoff from the site as well. So it sounds like we need to contact Mr. Gall, request a site visit. And what's everyone doing next Monday?
Apparently visiting the site.
So we will contact Mr. Gall with a request that we cannot access his property without his permission. And where relative to your residence is this right-of-way that you're?
Well, you'll see it as you come down, there's actually, when you start down Highland Avenue on the right-hand side, the second house, after the little shop is there, the second house down, he actually removed a home. That's an empty thing. He did do some work there, but that was a home that he took down. That's not where I'm talking. This is probably
12
If you-
down on the right-hand
12,
side.
10 or 12 more homes down the road. You can see it, I mean, it's a 50-foot wide area there's one large tree left, a huge,
It used to be overgrown, it's now.
and now it's filled, and you'll see there's piles of, he actually started last fall way out in the field. He's cut all like strands of trees, and the stumps are all piled up, and dirt's all piled up. And it's all piled in that same area. And you can see he's pushed it all the way back to the edge where the canal would be. And the other thing, and I don't know if this is within your jurisdiction, but that's also designated by that map behind you as would that be something I could complain to the state?
You could complain to Natural Heritage,
Because that's supposedly a rare species, a rare and
508-389-6300. 508
Good job.
389-6300.
You know, when we were here last time, it was, you know, that body of water that he had was considered agricultural.
Mhm.
And now it's filled in.
Mhm.
So, is it still agricultural?
Is the land around it being used for agricultural purposes, including hay production?
the land.
Or has it been used for agricultural purposes, including hay production, for at least 5 years?
No.
The land at Northampton Street where he started filling, at least, I would say at least an acre or 2 acres, where there used to be a house, used to be the bar and tavern, what was it, early times.
Early time, yeah.
That is not being done. He just filled that with truckload after truckload of dirt, and no farming has ever taken place there. Where the rest of the highway businesses, he has hay once this year. This is further back from that. Again, I don't know how much, if any activity, maybe he's clearing it for it, maybe that's what he's gonna say. But I guess that would be my other thing, is these ponds, I mean, were there long before he owned that property. And I don't know where he says, I guess, under what authority is he saying that's a farm pond? I mean, as opposed to a natural pond. There were natural ponds out there. There was a natural pond right on the edge of my property, which was much shallower. We had what do you call them, cat and nine tails and little peepers and all that. That was certainly not a farm pond. That was long since filled in. And this was one of these, just much, much larger. I mean, this was the largest of all. I mean, I don't know why necessarily as a farmer. He certainly doesn't do any irrigation out of there if that's what he's... again, I'm not. I guess I'm saying, who determines something's a farm pond as opposed to a naturally occurring pond? They go back to long before he had the property, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, that's a good question. And from our perspective, it's the use of the land and the use of the land within the past 5 years, and the area, the size of the feature, and other aspects of the feature, because it's all based on how they're defined in the regulations. So someone could have a 5,000 square foot pond dug out of an isolated wetland that fills with groundwater, and it's not jurisdictional under our purview. So what we're going to do is contact Mr. Gall about scheduling a site visit on Monday, August 17th at 6 p.m. Does that work?
If he let you out there, the neighbor that described it, and I didn't see it when he was digging it, he said when he filled it, he trenched to the canal to drain.
Is there water in the canal?
Well, there's water in the canal at times. I mean, it's not a free-flowing, certainly, it's an intermittent river or whatever you...
I would say 9 months out of the year,
Right. There's times...
there's water in it.
I can say not all sections of the canal
Right.
are connected to anything anymore, so.
Correct. And this you could tell that, in the last 100 years, lots of people were throwing things
Yeah.
down, and we're all aware that.
This one has to have some significance, at least just a short distance from there, because I believe that was a violation several years back of cutting of trees in that area.
Okay.
Same landowner owned it at the time.
Might be, I don't recall that specifically.
It was
but-
long before that. This goes
Okay.
back, the neighbor finally, after it went to court and there was lawsuits and mitigations, and the neighbor said that's it, and they moved out of Easthampton.
Oh.
Do you think we could pursue getting state assistance with going down for these kinds
Depends
of
on
issues?
where.
Because this is,
It depends on where and what.
yeah, I mean, if they
They're
need,
not gonna do it if it's buffer zone.
if they need an EPA, well, if they're discharging to the canal, that's one thing.
That's-
And if you need an EPA construction general permit registration too, you need to demonstrate compliance with the National Historical Preservation Act, which could be very difficult to do in this case if there, that is a historical canal there. But
Could argue that it's a Section 10 navigable waterway.
yeah, possibly.
Really?
But
I don't think it's navigable right now.
Historically it was, and it was used for interstate commerce, so.
But the trouble is who enforces those things, and it's really.
I mean, if the
No
activities
one.
are occurring within mapped rare species habitat, priority habitat, then you could contact Natural Heritage
Which is that number?
about a possible Massachusetts Endangered Species Act violation.
Is that a review biologist number? Or is that like
No, that's the general number.
general number?
It's very interesting that we've gotten, since we've
That's scary.
been here before, and we've talked about water, now this year for the first time, we now have cattails starting to grow at the back of our property. Where I used to have a vegetable garden. But because of the work, and again, like I know I said this before, it's a cumulative effect. It's all, they redid the corner of Highland Avenue, thank you. And they changed the Catherine Park that was right there. And in front of what used to be Valley Sports there's actively lots of cattails growing, and there's that water.
There's this one.
That's all draining down now into our backyard. And then with every piece of building that happens, more water's coming to Highland Avenue. And that's where the problem comes down.
And the problem from our perspective is that we
I know.
sympathize with you. Definitely, no one wants those problems to increase, but we're limited in what we can effectively do within our purview. So,
Yeah, so we pulled the neighborhood and there's now 6 houses that have water in the basement.
Mhm.
Now, what do you do with those homes?
Mhm. Right, that's a good question.
But thank you. I know you guys are all volunteers, and I know this is really hard work, and I know that it's monotonous, and thank you for being here.
You're welcome. I'll let you know if the site visit is scheduled,
So you can just
confirmed, email you.
Sure.
Okay.
I have to stay for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
On the agenda.
I don't,
Okay.
I don't think you.
no, I thought about dinner, since we just got back from vacation last night.
So you're done.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
long.
Just as an FYI, before we close that last time we talked about this was in August of 2013.
Okay, so it's been 2 years.
Yeah,
Jeez.
so it's been 2 years since we talked about this, August 2013 and September 2013. Looking back at old meeting minutes. So that's where we first discussed this.
Okay.
Starts on August 12, 2013, and it keeps going through September 23rd.
What are the 2 September dates? 16th, or no?
8/12 and 8/26, and then 9/23. So it looks like
In 9/23, we didn't talk about it for 1st September?
that I don't have minutes for the first one, so I don't. We didn't have a meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe there was. Oh, I wasn't. I was on vacation, so we'll have to look in the binder to see what
Okay.
happened.
That's good. That's good frame of reference. Okay, moving along. We have no public hearings or meetings. We have 2 requests for certificates of compliance. Mass DEP file number 151278, City of Easthampton, Nashawanic Pond Promenade Park. Commission performed a site visit on the evening of August 3rd, 2015. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?
No,
Would
that's
anyone
good.
care to make a motion regarding the issuance of a certificate of compliance?
Well, are there any conditions that should be ongoing?
Ongoing conditions 1958 through 63, which pertain to stormwater management and seasonal docks.
All right, I'll move to issue a certificate of compliance for the Nashawanic Pond Promenade Park, and whatever we need to do with 1950 through 63 should be done.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor? Aye. So moved.
So what, for the meeting minutes, though, certificate of compliance with the ongoing conditions attached or ongoing condition?
Referenced 19,58 through 63.
58 through 63, thank you.
Today's the August
10th.
Thank you. Take a second. Okay, he's done.
Yes. I love them. $10. Can't go wrong with $10 sunglasses. I sit on them and break them and lose them all the time. Me either.
All right.
Okay, you need your signature. Copy of this. Just a moment. All right. The next one, Mass DEP request for certificate of compliance for Mass DEP file number 151196. Daniel Daigle, 99 Hendricks Street. This one, Jessica Allen was going to reach out to him. He submitted a form, and that was pretty much it. And his order of conditions specified that he needed to provide a stamped as-built and statements. And this had to do with a construction of a culverted stream crossing for construction of a single-family residence off Hendricks Street. And so he has not provided sufficient documentation.
And what was the original date?
Like 2000, 2001.
Okay.
It's older. But there's no time limit on that unless we were to set a time limit in the order of conditions. All right, we have no emergencies.
Do we know if anybody's reached out to him yet?
Jessica said she was going to call him.
Has she been out for a while?
She's been back in.
Oh, she has. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw her this
So Jessica Allen will be reaching out, or says knows that she has to reach out.
Yes.
Sorry. I don't snore, I swear.
Okay, we have no emergency certifications, enforcement orders. We sent a letter to Mr. Gall regarding his property at 37 South Street regarding his obligation to manage invasive species, and he has not contacted the commission. So while contacting Mr. Gall about a site visit on Highland Avenue, I will contact him about that as well. All right, compliance updates.
Can we go back there for 1 second? You'll contact him about what is the actual, what does he still need to do?
His obligation to manage invasive species
Yeah,
within
sure.
mitigation areas.
Extension for the
That's
right.
Yeah, that's part of it, okay.
Okay. All right. Any updates regarding Mount Tom Estates?
I cannot find in any of our records online the person to contact. And I went there to actually look to see if there was a management company or anything, and I couldn't find a phone number anywhere near the mail area.
So should we ask Jessica if she?
We'll have to ask Jessica. Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't.
Okay. Because their permit expires in October.
Right.
So they would need to file by September 10th to
Yep.
not lose it. Paul Street Extension, Jillian Estates, DEP file number 151269.
I actually just emailed Mark. I
Mhm.
was supposed to do it earlier, but I emailed Mark Reed and David Gartzka about some of the little sediment things here and there that I've seen.
Is there a weekly report from them?
There was no regular. Okay, so I did supply weekly reports. There hasn't been any in the last couple of weeks. The last one was.
I think it was gonna go
July
once every 2
24th.
weeks
Yeah.
because it was site was stable.
Okay, so July
so.
24th was the last one, so we should have received at least one more since.
Okay.
Here are the two most
We
recent.
said every month. Did we talk about that or
We
no?
talked about
It was
bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly during
Okay.
construction.
Every other week.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, not twice a week.
Right. Bi-monthly then. Well, no, never mind.
Never mind. Same problem.
Yeah, so that's when we provide.
Lois?
Yes.
If I could, I don't know if, the city council, that's another, this is the one
Okay.
was here on the agenda that I was concerned. the Public Safety Committee of the City Council is meeting Jim Gracia out on Julian Estates. That's Hall Street Extension, tomorrow evening, because they're trying to get the road accepted, and that was kind of what, before we accept the road, we want to make sure everything that's done within conservation has been completed. So am I to say it hasn't been completed or hasn't
Correct.
been?
It's ongoing.
Okay.
The order of conditions is valid for, do we want to open up the plans? If you want to come up and take a quick look.
Again, I don't want to hold up your meeting.
We have to do it anyway.
We need to look at this anyway, so it's okay.
So we issued a certificate of compliance for the road, right?
We,
Partial
We issued
certificate
a
covering the
partial-
road and
and a lot,
a lot.
or something like
Yeah.
that. We can look in the file, but, so, Right.
Do we have as-built drawings? Because that's what I was looking for before I came to the meeting.
let me check the file.
Mhm.
I don't think we got it. I mean, I didn't get them electronically anyway.
This is the closest.
Do you know if the city council has as-built drawings?
Councilor Hayes is the
Okay.
chairwoman, and she had some drawings. I'll have to check. I didn't get back to her.
Okay.
I know she had some. I guess our concern was meeting, we were kind of concerned where you guys were at with it.
Yeah.
If it involved the street, because we don't want to accept it and then something happens, because then once we accept it, then the city is on the hook for any repairs.
Well, and,
Right.
and actually, one question that we have outstanding to follow up on is, these are the order of conditions. So, the order of conditions pertain to the construction of the stormwater system. Looks like a little bit of the road, not even the paved portion of the road, quite possibly. Construction on these lots, construction of the stormwater management system. There's
So the road's not
surface
in
heat.
any buffer zone?
Right, the road is not in buffer zone, and the north and
So
west.
that's what you're looking at now is.
Right.
Yeah.
So these lots and the road itself appear to be outside our jurisdiction,
Mhm.
but the stormwater discharge was in our jurisdiction, therefore the runoff and the collection system.
From the road.
From the road, fell within our purview under stormwater management. And then I want to get to the swale area. It's lot 4, so it's not it's a graded swale, but not a city easement. This is the city's parcel C, I think was.
Well,
Mm,
this plan shows
Strange
drainage
easement.
easement.
This is
Yeah.
not the same period as the other plan.
Yeah, so,
That's not drainage.
This set is from 2011 also.
Yeah, I think the easement's probably
It's probably
just
set
set
on
on
the
the
page.
sheet.
so here's, this is 20 feet to easement.
Mhm.
I see. Because the question I have is, whose easement is that?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question.
Did you pose that question?
I did not.
Okay.
I will.
Stormwater
Can
easement? Is it, you mean, is it the?
Well, it's called drainage easement on the plans.
Okay. You're asking, is it like the cities, or is it still Mr. Grosk's?
Proposed 25-foot yard drainage easement for the benefit of lots 1, 2, 3, and 4. But who holds the easement?
No.
Because this is where the trail is, there's a trail, is there?
It's on the other
Further
That's on the other
down,
side.
yeah.
It's on the other side.
On the other side of the.
Yeah, this is that deep ravine,
Right.
and then the access Ranch Ave is over.
Ranch Ave
here.
is over here where they go down the trail.
Yeah, the other, it's not.
Now, I'm not a
Is that
lawyer or
really
a surveyor,
good?
but I would think that the city doesn't have anything to do with that easement, that it's the other, it would just be up to the other property owners to enforce that,
Mhm.
is my guess.
See, I don't know who owned that. I know the Pasquaney Trust was the one that has the trail.
Right, but this easement
This is-
has to do
it's
with
before-
stormwater
I know, right,
conveyance.
I realize.
Yeah. But, so, one of the other concerns that I had is that, just as they construct the lots, there's a little bit of sediment getting on the roads, and they have silt sacks in the catch basins, which even once the city takes over the roads, the developer should still be responsible for those. And there was a lot of sediment accumulated in one, and it may have a tear, some of them may have tears in them, so there's a possibility that there's sediment in the infiltration
They're
thingamabob.
subsurface structures
Yeah.
in the city's easement.
Yeah,
I mean,
or
I
the-
think it's called parcel C.
Yep. I think there's pre-treatment for that, but, it should definitely be cleaned out by the developer.
They said, I'm not sure that we're approving it tomorrow. I'm definitely approving it tomorrow. This is kind of an upgrade, an update for us for the generation of the city engineer.
Yeah.
I'm glad, I appreciate the information.
I guess the question is, does he have that as built?
Right.
Yeah, because I don't think we got an as-built along with the request to issue our certificate of compliance that I know of. But we still, the stormwater permit's still open.
Right.
Can't figure it out for this plan, but. Thank you.
Next, well done.
I can't read it, but I can fold it.
Right.
Okay. So is there,
I know there's one other, if you
One other,
can
we'll
jump
get to
on your
it.
thing, there's one other, Jillian, where somebody's putting a deck and they're asking for something, does that have anything to do with anything?
that has to do with us, and until there's a, so, that's crazy. They need to get the partial, or they need the certificate of compliance for that lot. And the reason being,
To build a new deck or a deck extension, they have to have a.
to have an, can you unroll this, or unfold the plan again and see if it's
Right.
within that first 50 feet? Is it, if it's within the first 50 feet of buffer zone?
Shoot fire again, or?
Shoot two.
And what could complicate that is that drainage easement in clarifying
Right,
its
that's
its
what we
role.
Because
Well,
they're
there's two
gonna
things.
be with us. Talk about that exact thing.
So up there.
It's not here.
This one.
Oh,
Paper cuts. Sounded like a
Did you
paper
get one?
cut. No?
not me.
You get one?
No.
Okay. Sounded like one.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a violent piece of
Yeah, so it's 29, if there's a number on here.
Lot 4, isn't it?
So we're
No,
looking
I thought it was.
29 Foster Street, do they have numbers on them by chance?
Is it 3 or
No.
4?
No, it's not.
It's 4, but
I thought they said
Thank
that they
you.
were,
I'm not sure.
this is the first
This is
house
4, yeah.
constructed, and that's the second house, I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay,
pretty sure
so
it was that one.
looking at both, just for the sake of discussion, is either drainage easement area within the first 50 feet of buffer zone?
I would say so. Well,
Is that 100 foot?
That's the 100 foot.
it's pretty close.
So,
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
so
Where
there-
where they're proposing it is in a mowed area that's already,
right, so what I was saying about the certificate of compliance for that lot is that if, notwithstanding the presence of the easement, the conversion of lawn to uses accessory to residential structures, such as decks, is a minor activity in buffer zone, provided it's located more, including material staging and stockpiling, is located more than 50 feet from mean high water line within riverfront area, bank, or from BVW, whichever is farther, and erosion and sedimentation controls are implemented during construction. So if everything gets tied up and they're done, if there weren't an easement, it would be absolutely clear, if it's beyond 50 feet from the wetland boundary, that it's not in jurisdiction, it's exempt,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't need to file. But if they're in the drainage easement, I guess the question is that integral to the stormwater management system and design? And then the whole, it has other implications relative to the stormwater compliance.
Right.
So it's not so simple because there's that, they chose to grade to convey stormwater to that, in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like if it's on this side of the house, it's not.
yes, on the backside.
It's coming off the back.
Yeah.
You think it's 4 or 3? Not that, again, it doesn't
I
seem to
just-
have anything to do
I,
with the road.
I thought it was this house
Yeah,
for some
I'm not
reason.
sure.
but I'm not entirely sure.
So when you're
Again,
in
it seems
touch,
like
when
your
you.
issue, not mine.
Right, lucky, from once you
one,
got
right?
lucky, huh?
Yeah.
So when you contact them, can you ask for clarification?
Yeah, do we even have their contact information?
David Gartzka?
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
that we
never
have-
mind.
Do we have the,
no, we have their names,
Copy of
but
it?
you're talking about. That's it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh.
Sorry.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay, thanks.
I'll let you know about the site
Yeah,
visit.
appreciate it.
Have another sheet. Oh, thank you. Jeez.
Sorry, is that close to your face?
No, Jesus, and I didn't have to look for it. It was
Oh.
right there, all of a sudden.
Ask and you shall receive.
Okay, so you've got, someone has followed.
Commissioner Butcher will contact Mr. Scobo, which lot,
It was 2 thumbs and some follow
deck.
Moving on to Pleasant Street Mills, Mass DP file number 151273. Not talking to Jay on this, but Jay has a conflict of interest, therefore we
Okay.
don't talk to Jay about this. Has anyone been out there?
I think
They've
he's
been
sending
getting
me
the weekly.
brainwaves and stuff. Jay.
We'll get some tinfoil, okay? Pleasant Street.
Pleasant Street Mills. So it says Commissioner Crowe will contact Jessica Allen about removal of sediment control devices, which you did. And she said they should be, yes, she did.
She said they would like to remove them.
Okay.
Right.
And I
And
don't
that's where
know
it
if that
ended.
was a question or a statement.
She asked what the process was to get them removed.
She did, okay.
So what is the process to get them removed? Did we have
Identify the location and.
Just notify us.
Yeah.
Should I tell her that or?
Yes. So Hall Street is Derb.
Durb.
About
Right.
the process
Back.
to remove them.
And just notify us that they're gonna remove them.
Yeah.
And when.
And when, or when it's done. And we can go take a look.
Okay, I was on the bike path today and it looks fine. Everything seems lovely. They're putting a whole, you probably all know this, retaining wall. It's gonna be a lot of parking back there. It's a good idea.
Stop it, Jay.
Okay. You ready?
Give me 1 second. These minutes, I'm sorry about these minutes, I'm apologizing here, like, we're going so fast. Okay, go.
That's 'cause we're-
Yeah, I know, me too.
Okay, Glendale, Leadville, West Pomeroy Meadow intersection. I haven't heard anything from Jim. Does anyone else want to?
I actually contacted him about the
Permit.
the permit, and he said he would forward it to the state because it's not his
Okay.
deal. So,
Not mine.
contact has been made.
Anything?
Have you
about-
contacted him about the standing water on the detention pond?
Yes, and I haven't heard from him.
Okay, that's all right, so I missed that.
It's okay. I didn't say that this time. I'm getting tired of saying it. Boy, do we need an agent. Okay, Nashwanik Mills, 15 Cottage Street.
Just waiting for them to install their rain garden plants and finish their shrubs and things like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Nashwanik Pond Promenade Park, done.
Take it off.
That's gonna be deleted.
Yay.
No updates on the Connecticut River. When you contact Terry Smith, can you throw that one in there too?
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. Derb. Town Beach, Nashwanik Pond, Fisherman Access.
So I just went over there, actually, and it looks pretty stable and it's a tidy site, I would say.
Looks like they're ready to pay if everything's all
Yep.
laid out, so.
Yep. The one thing is that all the swales and stuff were all very rip-rappy, and I don't remember that from the plans, and that's why I was trying to look
Oh.
and find the plans to
Okay,
see
well-
what they were proposed exactly.
When we get through everything, let's look for the file quickly
Yep,
and see if we can find the file.
yep.
It's not running
Nice
fast.
adjective usage.
Is the work is
there.
ongoing and the site looks good? Is that what I?
Yeah, site looks great. Other than what Dan,
And you
Swales.
said, Dan, that you were gonna look at the order conditions to see about weekly reporting and what their requirements were? And talk
Yeah, they're
to-
supposed to do weekly reporting.
Yeah.
Okay. So the
We've
project
been
is not
getting
in
verbal
compliance.
updates, but it's not the same as an email or written.
So is it not in compliance then, or what do we?
It's an administrative.
I think the problem is that the only guy that knows what's going on is the guy that's running the
Yeah,
excavator.
there is no time to write
So,
Okay, but verbal updates have been,
and the commission, I emailed Terry Smith and Jessica Allen about it,
Mhm.
right before Jessica had closed surgery.
okay.
So, we'll need some sort of written summary, status update. because as I recall, there's going to be a gap until the paving contractor comes in. Is that right?
That's what he was talking about, depending on how the funding came in, but,
Yeah.
I mean, things look very finely graded, you know, and ready to pave, so I don't know, maybe there won't be a gap,
Okay.
but it'd be nice to know.
Oh, we know, yeah, if we had it with the reports, you might know that. He said bitterly.
No
Okay.
passive aggressiveness here.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's where we stand there. Lathrop, we sent them their order of conditions. We have not received confirmation of start of work or recording of order or posting a file number or any of those steps. So we're just,
The email they told us they were starting. And if we wanted to come out to the site.
oh, got shoveled away.
No, it was still
It
there.
was still there? I still there missed it. Does anyone want to go do a site visit? On their own?
Probably next Monday when we're doing the other one, or I'm just going during the day.
I mean, I'm only going to be able to do the one on Monday,
Okay,
but
alright.
if others are available for more, then
Stroll.
go for it. Sure. Okay, so you'll coordinate that through conservation email?
Sure.
Thank you.
We'll do that after.
I think we do it after the Highland.
Okay, Scommon Conservation Trust, Mutter Field.
Do we want to, back to the
Yeah.
Lapa thing, do we want to let them know we're coming out, or, okay.
We have an order of conditions to sign for Mutter Field here.
What happened with the wetlands designation there?
It got fixed.
Readjusted.
It was, yeah, I'm not sure how, but, no, I am sure how. So the one further back in the field got moved down to that lower break in topography where there was a significant notable change in vegetation and soils. And there was some shifting of flags above, or as you enter the site, so that it got a little smaller, closer to the access path, but direction-wise to the south, it was closer to the line that was presented in the plans. And we got a whole revised set of plans
We did, where is that?
in the file.
Okay, I was on vacation for that too, apparently. So what's this for?
This is for Mutterfield,
And it's a
order of conditions.
order of conditions,
We're
okay.
signing it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So is work beginning?
Not yet, not till they get this and record it, and post a file number, and nominate a project environmental monitor, and schedule it for construction.
Somebody has this very fresh in mind.
Why?
Order of conditions,
Thanks.
signed by the foundation.
Get skipped.
That gets skipped.
Thank you. Alright. Okay, so hopefully next time we'll go,
What did we just sign?
what did we just do? No, nothing, we're fine. It's all good. That's why pages get numbered. Yay. All right, meeting minutes approval, July 13th,
They're out there.
2015.
Both sets of meeting minutes are out there somewhere.
Yes,
Are they?
meeting minutes.
I have the
I think
27th.
not the 27th, but they didn't,
Sorry. They're right here. July 13th, July 27th. Jeez. I said not to mention today. I'm just going crazy. Green, orange, pink. This is my PDR today, my annual review, so.
Here's the bit about the wetlands redesignation.
Why is that text highlighted?
Oh, that's a good question. Because that's what I had to do. That's my copy.
Okay,
But,
We can use this copy.
yeah, there you go.
there we go.
Unless Jay
No,
files
no,
them.
that's fine, you can use it.
Thank you, Jay.
I was absent with
That's right, the whole month of July, you were absent with notice.
You were.
I should.
Mark it up. Mark it up. We can mark it up.
And then,
Yeah,
yeah,
initial
that's
it.
fine.
Yeah.
Got initial it.
I have to initial it?
You made the mark. Thanks, Ashley.
You betcha.
All right, are there any questions, comments, concerns, discussion about the July 13th, 2015 minutes? Would anyone care to make a motion?
I move that we accept the minutes as written for the July 13th meeting.
It's written or is
And
amended?
corrected?
Which one's the corrected
Neither.
one?
These are not corrected.
Okay.
These are as written.
Okay.
All right.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right. The July 27th, 2000 meeting minutes. Would anyone care to make a motion?
So moved.
I make a motion to accept the July 27th meeting minutes as corrected.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. We already kind of discussed 29 Paul Street deck extension and possible encroachment into the drainage easement. TBD. Yes? Okay.
Chickens.
Chickens.
What?
That's the other.
I was supposed to look at Seven Valley Lane to see how close it was to.
Forgot all about that.
It was on
Yeah,
It
it's
was
still.
last
last week's agenda, but it didn't make it onto this agenda. But
It's,
Darn.
Yeah, it's still on. Still on the meeting minutes. So is
What
it?
the heck?
Is it near wetlands?
no, it's like 400 feet away from some unnamed book.
Well, how many?
I'd
100?
say 400.
Then,
So it's not in our jurisdiction.
yeah, no. Done.
Did that
Thank you.
No problem.
Done.
Do it.
at 4:59.
I'm not even sure why we have this 2006 that I have nothing to do with here. We'll look for a file for that.
Is this correspondence now, or we're not? We're done with
Oh,
it?
the order of conditions was recorded for Lathrop.
Look at that.
Can you put a book and page in the notes?
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Lathrop. How was it recorded without our signature?
No, we
Oh,
didn't.
no,
I think we-
Sorry, we
we
just
did
signed.
Mutter.
No, I'm sorry,
Mutter.
Mutter.
Well, it's okay.
Yeah.
Wrong one.
It's so fast. Everything's so fast. All right. The order conditions was recorded. And go ahead.
Book 12012, page 301, on July 23rd, 2015. Yay.
That must be why they started working on the 24th.
Here we go. What is this? No, this is the decision. Does anyone want the decision regarding Mill 180?
What was the question?
What's Mill 180?
Excellent question.
Paragon Building, next door to Pleasant Street, Mills.
I think
Does
actually
anyone
has
want
this
this?
town down.
It's just our copy.
But what is it? What was the?
A curb cut or something.
Oh yeah, a curb cut.
Yes. Oh, here's the decision of the ZBA regarding chickens.
Chickens.
But which, 7 Valley Road or the prior chicken
Yes, we have
decision?
2 chickens.
26
conditions.
Williston Avenue.
See, that's the
Different
first
chickens.
chicken.
For chickens, we already decided those weren't in wetlands either.
They're not jurisdictional.
We
The
required
enclosure
tribute
for
payment.
the chickens could be jurisdictional, but it's not. Okay.
But what if it was lots of chickens? I think that's big.
I don't think it's
Okay.
actually no more than 4 and no roosters. No special. Anyone care? Does anyone want copies of the RDA for Eversource?
Did we,
Is that the one that we're done with from the last
Yes.
meeting? or-
Yep.
we had a few,
The determination was delivered.
great, thank you. That's what I'm getting at.
Mom wasn't here.
You did kind of okay without you.
Dan did
Is there a recycling bin over there?
Yes.
Great.
Do you want to keep
Did
the
the-
curb cut decision?
Over your head.
No. Oh, what's this
Curb
one?
cut decision of the meeting.
Oh.
28 Northampton Street, May Stoddard.
Is that by
This is a
the
decision.
DPW to reuse the,
Yeah.
change the business use?
Yeah.
So what is it gonna be? What?
Okay, here's the request for certificate of compliance for Promenade Park. Good gracious. Concom, August 13th. Chickens, lot under 15,000, area does not appear to be within Wetlands Protection Act jurisdiction. No permitting with Concom required. Okay, anything else? All right, so I will let everyone know about contacting Bernie Gall about the site visit next Monday at 6 p.m.
I cannot go to that.
Okay,
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
be like back to a normal schedule soon. Actually, I'm gonna be
Your summer will come to a screeching halt
Yeah, right.
very
No,
soon.
I'll talk about it.
Can I report that I told John Bader about the leaves and lawn clippings and stuff, and he said, okay, thanks for letting me know.
Mhm.
It's probably on our property.
Great.
Where was that again? Which project was that?
Branch
Yes.
Excellent.
Hmm. When did we talk about that?
Last week, right here, debris on PCT
Debris,
land.
oh.
Other 9B.
Okay. I must have gotten rid of it. Sorry.
That was fine.
I'm not here. It's all done, I know.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Removed.
Good job.
Thanks. All right, we got this.